Hello everyone and welcome back to another one of our Firefly reaction episodes. This time we are on episode 7, which is Jaynestown. As ever, I'm joined by Jeremy and Brass.
Hello.
Yo. Oh wow, three hellos.
That one was quite normal.
Yeah,
that was quite normal for you, Brass, though. That was not a yo or anything bizarre today.
Yeah, it's my new subdued persona.
Subdued nature.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, we are watching Jaynestown this week. Last time we watched Our Mrs. Reynolds, which basically saw Mal accidentally getting married and bringing his new wife on board the ship. Everyone she was very meek, wasn't she? Very subdued, but then we found out actually over time that this was all part of her persona and she was actually trying to infiltrate the ship and send them towards an electrical ring where some waiting people could disassemble the ship and sell it on for parts.
Yeah, it was a cool episode last week. I enjoyed that one.
It was good.
Great episode, yeah.
Christina Hendricks was good at playing that role.
Yeah, so that was a really good one. We've had a lot of comments from people telling us that this is their favourite episode or one of their favourite episodes. Obviously, it must be a Jayne-focused episode, so I'm excited because I think we all kind of enjoy the kind of ridiculousness of Jayne and the kind of very dry comedy. So, I'm looking forward to getting into this one. How about you guys?
Exactly the same.
If it's to do with Jayne, then yeah, I'm all for it. He had some brilliant moments in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When he's trying to trade his gun for Mal's wife.
And I think it's when he was then quickly, or was that the episode before?
That was episode before.
The episode before, wasn't it? When he was quickly putting all the stuff back.
Yeah, that was in Safe,
yeah,
right?
That was
where he stole all of
Yeah.
Simon and River's stuff and then was quickly trying to put it all back. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Shall we get started?
Yes,
Crack on.
Let's crack on. Okay, here we go. So this is Jaynestown.
I use swear words like anybody else.
Oh, really? See, I never heard you. So when is it that you do all this cussing after I
He
go
says
to bed?
horrible stuff.
I swear when it's appropriate.
Simon, the whole point of swearing is that it ain't appropriate.
He says the worst things you've ever heard. I'm not saying it.
Don't let Mal get you into too much trouble while I'm gone.
Fine, Al. Have good sex. What?
Is that his brain? Doing that noise.
Yeah, exactly. It just broke.
Oh! Now this would be a perfect time for a swear word.
Jayne, I told you we're setting down at the Canton factory settlement on Higgins Moon.
Yep, that you did.
Canton don't allow guns in their town.
Yes, sir. That's why I ain't strapping one to my hip.
No, that's why you ain't strapping one anywhere. Kessler's our man. He's holding the goods we're to deliver. We go in, make contact, easy peasy.
I'm looking to buy some mud.
Well then, come to the right place.
Oh God.
You haven't been here in years, Jayne. You really think you need that get up? No one's gonna
What's the
remember
chances someone's going to recognise him straight away?
I think it's possible they might.
Is that him?
Yeah, apparently so.
I cross the magistrate of this company town. Understand? He ain't exactly a forgiving sort of guy.
Magistrate Higgins, I presume.
You may, but I only make the people I own use my title.
Fixing your Bible.
What?
Bible's broken. Contradictions, false logistics. Doesn't make sense.
Brilliant.
No, you can't.
So we'll integrate non-progressional evolution theory with God's creation of Eden. 11 inherent metaphoric parallels already there.
River, you don't fix the Bible.
It's broken. It doesn't make sense.
It's got you
It's
there,
not about
buddy.
making sense. It's about believing in something.
You wouldn't be looking for Kessler.
Just having a brew.
I knew a Kessler.
No?
Your man's merchandise is here, safe in Kessler's hiding place. We just got to figure out how to get it across town without being seen by the foreman and his prods. I advise we all just lay low for a moment.
Jayne.
Oh my God.
The man they call Jayne. He robbed from the rich and he gave to the poor.
Oh, it's like Robin Hood.
Up
Yeah,
to the
love it.
man and he gave him what for.
I stole that money from Higgins like the song says. Lifted me one of his hovercraft. I got tagged by anti-aircraft. Started losing altitude. Had to dump them strong boxes. Stay airborne. 60,000 untraceable. And I drop it right square in the middle of Mud Farmer Central.
We gotta go to the crappy town where I'm at.
And they call
Hello?
In here, River.
I tore these out of your symbol and they turned into paper. But I want to put them back, so.
Oh God, it's turned into Albert Einstein.
What's that?
River? River, come back!
Don't you understand? He's come back! It's Jayne!
Hero of Canton won't be drinking that shunk man here. He drinks the best whiskey in the house!
To Jayne, the box-dropping, man-ape gone wrong thing.
Brilliant.
You know, you are pretty funny.
And you're pretty...
What did you just say?
Just say that you're pretty.
It's the rules of my order. Like the book, it symbolizes...
River, honey, he's putting the hair away now.
Doesn't matter. It'll still be there. Waiting.
I think it's a good look.
Hey, we're home.
Imagine this is your B plot.
Where you guys
River
been?
scared of
Mount
books
Vernon was
hair.
chomping at the bit. Says he wants his merchandise yesterday.
Yeah, I brought you here to bed, my son. Not throw him a tea party.
Sir, a companion greeting ceremony is a ritual with centuries of
My
tradition.
son is 26 years old, and he ain't yet a man.
That's got to be embarrassing.
We can use it. Anyways, we talked a few pillars of the Mutter community into having a little Jayne Day celebration in Town Square tomorrow. It should buy us enough of a distraction to get the stolen goods out from under the foreman and his crew prods.
You're really gonna have to start again. Jayne's a what?
My son's out there. I pray to God losing his cherry.
There's a problem in
Why is he
workers.
so obsessed with his son banging? It's weird.
Jayne Cobb's come back.
You can just picture him in bed getting angry at night
Yeah.
about it.
You keep me in that box 4 years. You give me a loaded gun.
You got the urge to use it, no doubt. But I'm not the one who brought you in on that robbery. I'm not the one who partnered up with you and then turned on you when his plan went south.
Oh,
How high
dear.
up was that shuttle? When he pushed
Jayne's
you out?
buddy.
30 feet? Jayne Cobb. Cost you 4 years of
Jayne
your life.
pushed him out.
Plus a perfectly good eyeball. And here's the poetical portion. He's back in town. This very day. Best of luck in your new life.
Hey, Captain. Captain.
Well, I, no, nothing happened. No, there was some drinking,
He's definitely
but
not Big Brother, isn't
Yeah.
no, we certainly didn't. No, I would never. Not with Kaylee.
What do you mean not with me?
Yeah, Where's my hero?
Our love for me now ain't hard to explain. The hero can't
He's singing his own song.
call me. Eggs. The living legend needs eggs.
Where are you going?
I'm going with you.
I don't think so. No, maybe you ought to stay here. It's about the time for a civilized person to have his breakfast. That's the sort of thing would be appropriate, don't you think?
He thinks he's this hard-hearted criminal, and he can be unrelenting. But there's a side to him that's just so...
You mean you actually know Jayne?
Jayne?
Jayne Cobb? You're talking about Jayne Cobb?
Yes, Jayne Cobb, the hero of Canton. The only person I ever saw who stood up to my father.
Heard tell you run with Jayne Cobb.
Excuse me?
You're gonna take me that dirty and low-down shingle of a man.
Listen, sir, I don't know who.
There's Jayne, the money, and me. There was no way he was gonna drop that money.
He did. He dropped it on the mutters.
That's that you inbred dunghead. He tossed me out first. For 6 months we run together, he turned me out before I could scream.
You'd have done the same.
Never. You protect the man you're with. You watch his back. Everybody knows that. Hell, is that the hero?
It's got a point.
You get to talk me to death, buddy? Is that the plan?
This is the plan.
Oh no, that guy just took it.
Jeez.
Oh, that guy's still not dead.
I feel sorry for that guy.
Jesus.
At the end of the day, he got chucked out of the plane.
Yeah, he's the hero.
Yeah.
Get up. Get up, you stupid piece of... What'd you do that for? What's wrong with you? Did you hear a word he said? All of you! You think there's someone just gonna drop money on you? Money they can use? Well, there ain't people like that. There's just people like me.
You did what? I sent an override to port control. Lifted the landlock on Serenity.
To wipe that smile off your head. How dare you defy me, you...
You wanted to make a man out of me, Dad. I guess it worked.
My way of being polite, or however it's the only way I have of showing you that I like you. Of showing respect.
Every man ever got a statue made of him. Was one kind of sumbitch or another. Ain't about you, Jayne. It's about what they need.
Don't make no sense.
Okay, so that was Jaynestown. There was a lot going on in that episode. Like, we had kind of 3 plots to an extent going on at the same time. If we do a quick rundown, so the main plot that we saw was that the Firefly gang headed to a planet to meet a kind of supplier, pick up some loot and leave again. But when they got there, they found out that the guy was dead and the stuff had been stashed away. But the more important thing we found out was that Jayne had become
Robin Hood.
Somewhat of a Robin Hood, exactly. Somewhat of a Robin Hood to the people there. They'd erected a statue to him. And yeah, he had 4 years previously stolen a load of money off of the magistrate. Ship got hit whilst escaping, tossed out the money, which landed with the Mudders, who were the people of the planet, and they thought that he had ditched the money with them to give the money back to the people, which obviously led to all kinds of strange encounters and escapades. At the same time, we found out actually that not only had he ditched the money, he'd also ditched a guy called Ditch, who had been one of his running buddies 4 years before. Stitch came back, tried to kill Jayne, but after a confrontation, Jayne got the upper hand, and but not before one of the Mudders died trying to defend him. He then left, considering what had gone on. I guess trying to reconsider the choices and the way he views life. At the same time, we had Book and River trying to understand a small story about Book's beliefs. River modifying the Bible, but then an even stranger bit of the story that River found out that Book had very long hair that looked a little bit Albert Einstein.
Very much so.
Which seemed to scare her because she was terrified the hair weighed too much and was going to cave in his head. And on top of that, Anara was having a visit with the magistrate of the planet's son, 26 years old, still a virgin. Magistrate, for some reason, thought sleeping with her would make him a man. And that led in the end to her basically saying, look, we've slept together, but you become a man when you choose to do the things that make you a man, which actually led to him releasing the Serenity from the planet as it was trapped there, and kind of showing that he was willing to stand up to his father. So there was a lot going on in that episode. What did you guys think of it?
Waiting for Brass to go first.
Silence. I mean, it was, the humour was spot on in terms of and there's nothing else to expect from it when Jayne's the sort of focal point. But I think just this, that. Is it the first time the ending was quite somber? It's probably and it's there's the kind of message that was, so I guess sort of the message in the sort of themes in that were kind of faith and belief and all that sort of stuff, with people, and it's what they who summed it up, Mal summed it up at the end, what people need something to believe in, really. And it was the same conversation that went on with
Book and River.
Yeah, with Book and River. So it was all that stuff that it was quite deep in a sense. Yeah. Even though initially you'd probably think, oh well, it's it's a Jayne episode, centric episode, it's just going to be humorous, which it was, but just to have that level of deepness, I guess is
And it was nice. It was nice to have that moment at the end, which involved Jayne as well, because we've never really seen that.
Oh yeah,
side of it. So that was good.
And he obviously mentioned, and like you say there, he said, they'll just put the statue back up. And Mal said, yeah, probably. And as you were saying there, Brass, it kind of is reflected, right? Because he's saying they need something to believe in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we had River picking all of these holes in the Bible.
Yeah.
And Book saying, that it's not about looking for the truth in it. It's a bit, again, about having something to believe. So it's a very similar thread, right? They know the truth of Jayne now, but they can choose to still believe the myth. Whereas, read the Bible and you can see it's full of, contradictions, but they still choose to believe in that as well. So yeah, I think that's spot on. It's definitely all about faith.
I did like how they told the story of Jayne and why he was their hero by music in the bar.
Yeah,
that was good.
It was a good way of telling.
Didn't feel like it was forced exposition. It was it was part of it. That was cool.
That was good. I like that.
And then when Jayne came back singing it later on, just singing his own. That's what we were waiting for, wasn't it? We were waiting for the moment where Jayne kind of bought into his own story, and it didn't come as quickly as you thought it might.
He just needed some whiskey.
He definitely bought in. Yeah, exactly.
A couple of whiskeys.
He didn't need not the Mudder's milk then.
I think the bit that was for me was I don't know what the right term is, whether it's conflicting or what, but with that guy that came back that he'd chucked out, that has been imprisoned for 4 years or whatever. I kind of felt sorry for him in the sense of he's going to be pissed off.
He was entitled to be pissed off.
He's entitled to be pissed off, and then he got killed. And it was
he got his head smashed out.
And it was whoa, that's that makes me feel less of, I don't know, made me feel less of Jayne. But I guess the whole, just the stuff we were talking about before, Jayne's obviously reflecting on it to some degree. And I don't know how I feel about that element
the thing
of
with
it.
Jayne has been that he has, up until this point, Jayne has always been money first, people second. Like we've seen it multiple times throughout. There's been points where he's been willing to leave Mal behind to get away with things. We've seen the bit where obviously he wasn't bothered initially about going back to get Simon and River during Safe, and he was just, all he was happy with doing was stealing all their stuff. We saw in the same episode when Book got shot, the first thing he actually asked was, "Did you get the money?" So he's always been money first, people second. But obviously now, by the end of this episode, you could see that when that mudder died to defend him, you could see that he was maybe starting to finally realise that people are worth more than the money.
For sure.
And we saw him, obviously, as we say, we didn't see it, but we know he threw this stitch away to save the money. And that guy even said, that he said he would have ditched the money before he had ditched Jayne if it had been the other way around, because you don't turn on the person that you run with. So maybe now Jayne is going to start being a little bit more thoughtful and realising that people are what matter.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they do follow that narrative from now on, or whether they will just revert back to
Jayne being
Jayne. Yeah. Be interesting.
Something else actually that's a complete side point, but I found really interesting that they spoke about was that obviously we've always been in this place with this series that obviously there's humans, but we've never really known if Earth was a thing, and we got two bits of this that obviously pointed out that this is kind of our future. One being that in the Bible was the Christian Bible, or at least a form of it, because they were talking about Noah's Ark. So we know that it's a form of the Christian, because I've always taken it as Book is a shepherd for a new religion, a different religion, but obviously it is still a Christianity-based religion. And the other one being that Simon mentioned about ancient Egypt back on, I think he said Old Earth.
I think it was like Earth as it was, or Earth before. So before something happened.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that we got 2 points there that really do point that this is our world, but the future of it. Because it's not a big point, but it's something that we've never actually had established as far as I'm aware.
It's very true, because I'm glad you brought that up, because at the time, especially the ancient Egyptian stuff, I was thinking, oh, actually, is this the first time we've...
I think it is.
I think you're right. I do think you're right, yeah.
But no, there was a lot. I mean, something we haven't even spoken about in this episode, we completely brushed over there, is that we got to see a little bit more throughout the episode on Simon and Kaylee's relationship. So the episode started on those two having a conversation, Kaylee trying to get Simon to swear, and him saying, "Oh yeah, I swear all the time," and he wouldn't swear. And she wanted to know why he wouldn't, and all this kind of thing. Then during the episode, he got drunk and was much flirtier, more forthcoming with her, telling her how pretty she was. And then we finished up the episode with him basically saying the reason he's so proper is because it's what he knows, and so far out of his comfort zone, the only thing he really has to show her that he does like her is by being respectful and being being that kind of man. So that kind of feeds back into the opening of the episode, where we then find out really the reason he won't swear is because he does like her, and he thinks that he has to be he has to be respectful. He has to be proper and respectful. So it's quite interesting to see their relationship starting to build, and seeing more of why he is the way he is around her. Because she's very forthcoming, right? Even making jokes that they'd had sex whilst he'd been drunk and stuff like this.
But I can't imagine her being like, because I see her sort of the way Mal does.
Yeah,
like a little sister. Do you know what I mean? It's a bit like I'm a bit like I don't want to think about that, which is really weird. It's like,
Well, she's everyone's. She's the most likable person of the crew, isn't she? There's no one that doesn't. And we've seen it numerous times. People will always stick up for Kaylee in any situation, even against other members, even against Mal, even against other members of the crew. People will defend Kaylee because everyone just loves her. She's like the heart of she's like their heart, really.
Very true.
But Yeah. And then, something we haven't really spoken a lot about was the fact that we had this little side story of Inara as well, and the magistrate's son, which was interesting because actually, what I think the most interesting thing in there was, now thinking about it, it was the moment where the son told her that a guy had landed yesterday who had stolen all this money from his dad and was the only person who had ever stood up to his dad, and she instantly thought it was Mal, and started talking about all of his best qualities, the kind of things we never hear her say to anybody else. And obviously the rug pull was that they were talking about
Jayne.
They were talking about Jayne, but we really got to see her open up more about the ways we already knew she felt about Mal, but we haven't heard her verbalize.
I love that it's just you think that's the sort of thing you would think, which way did it come round? Did they think they wanted to get something like that, so the episode sort of catered for that, or was it an afterthought and go, this is the perfect time to throw in Inara's sort of some more of Inara's true feelings or whatever for them. But I
thought it was a good episode.
Really good.
There's lots going on. I've made 2 pages of notes on it because there was so much going on throughout. It's because last episode we also had we only had one storyline on our Mrs. Reynolds. Everything was focused around that one storyline, whereas this one was very much the opposite. We had 3 stories going on. Obviously, we had one main story, but then we had the 2 B plots, which each in their own way fed back into the bigger story. So it was good. Plenty of funny moments, like you'd expect from anything that is a Jayne-focused episode, but actually a lot of heart in there as well, and maybe some character progression as well to see how that really affects Jayne going forwards and other people, not just him, but the way that we can see how this affects Book and River's relationship going forwards.
I
do think the best moment goes to River and her concern that Book's head was going to cave in because of the weight of his. Oh no, actually, it was even better. It was when Zoe said, he's going to put the hair away, and she went, yeah, but it will still be there waiting. It was a good episode.
That was good.
You know what? I still don't think we've had episodes that are better than other episodes, but I still don't think we haven't had a bad episode.
I'd agree with that. Yeah.
There's not been one episode that I've thought that was a bit rubbish.
I agree.
And this brings us to the halfway point. That's episode 7. So we've got 7 episodes to go, and then the movie. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for watching. Remember, as always, if there's any little fun facts you've got about this episode, anything we've missed, please drop them in the comments below. As we always say, though, no spoilers. This is the first time we've watched the episode, so we want to enjoy it and not have stuff ruined ahead of time. Remember, if you've enjoyed this episode, please hit the subscribe button, give us a like, leave us a comment.
Yes, please.
Go over to Jesus, what was that?
Barry White back from the dead.
I'm looking forward to watching the sound levels of that when I edit this episode. If you've enjoyed the episode, please head over to allmaverick.com where you can check out our other videos, our blogs, our podcasts, and we'll be back very soon with another episode of Firefly. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Adios.